So welcome to another class, and today we'll be solving this question, the quadratic equation, using the quadratic formula. If you've watched my previous videos, you understand that I explained them. We have different methods of solving quadratic equations. One of them is using the factorization method, and the factorization method is only used when the quadratic equation can be factorized. And then the second method is using completing the square method, where on completing the square method, you find the square of, you take the half of the coefficient of x and square it, add it to both sides. So you add it to the right side and then you add it to the left side. And then secondly, we also have the method of quadratic formula, which is the method we are going to be using today in solving this equation. And using the quadratic formula, we have a formula that helps us to, and using the quadratic formula, we have a formula that we just employ in solving quadratic equations. So recall the general quadratic equation that states that if you have ax squared, this is the general quadratic equation, is given as so. Therefore, from the question we have above, 3x squared plus 7x minus 6 is equal to 0. In this case, we can see that our 3 is a, so a is equal to 3, and our 7 is the b, so b is equal to 7, and then 6 is our c, so c is equal to 6. This is all we need to solve this question. And we have to recall the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula says that x, if you're looking for two values of x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. This is the general quadratic formula. So what we just need to do here is substitute the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c into this equation. I can call this equation 1. So wherever I see a, I put 3. Wherever I see b, I put 7. Wherever I see c, I substitute the value of 6. So let's go. That's going to say x is equal to negative, our b is what? 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 square minus 4 is a constant there. A is 3 and C is 6. Okay, C is negative 6, not just 6. Take note, C is negative 6. So in this case, our C is going to be negative 6 divided by 2, and our A is what? 3. Okay, so you can just take this step by step, just simplify this. It's nothing difficult. So x is equal to negative 7 plus or minus square root of 7 square is 7 times 7, which is 49, minus 4 times 3 is 12, and then 12 times 6 is 72. 4 times 3 is 12, multiplied by 6 is 72. Now, don't forget there is a negative sign here, there is a negative sign here. So negative multiplied by negative is positive. So this changes to positive 72. It's just like you're saying negative 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by negative 6. Negative 4 multiplied by 3 is negative 12. Negative 12 multiplied by negative 6 is positive 72. So our sign will change from negative to positive. And 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so we just need to take it step by step. Like I said, you don't need to be in a rush so that you will make mistakes. Okay, what next? X is equal to negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 plus 72. So if you do 49 plus 72, you will have 121 divided by 6. Okay, so if you have 121 divided by 6, what's the next thing we're going to do? So 121 is a perfect square. So which means we can have the square, we can find the square root of 121. So our x is equal to negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 121 is 11. So I'm going to substitute square root of 121 is 11. So I'll put my 11 divided by 6. What this simply means is that x has two values, that x is equal to negative 7 plus 11 divided by 6, or x is equal to negative 7 negative minus 11 divided by 6. While in the first instance, you can call this first instance for the value of x, is the second instance for the value of x. As so for the first instance, that means x is equal to negative 7 plus 11. So if you have negative 7 and then you have positive 11, that simply means it's going to be 4. So this is going to give you 4 divided by 6. 4 divided by 6, 2 can go into 4, that's 2 times. 2 can go into 6, that's 3 times. Therefore, x is equal to 2 over 3. That's for the first instance. And then for the second instance, we can say or x is equal to negative 7, negative 11. That's going to give you negative 18 divided by 6. And 6 can go into itself 1, 6 can go into it as 3 times. So that means that x is equal to negative 3. So our final answer is, therefore, x is equal to 2 over 3, or x is equal to negative 3. So that becomes the value of x when you use the factorization, when you use, the quadratic formula to solve a quadratic equation. That was pretty simple, straightforward, easy to understand. But if you have any question or confusion, just put it down in the comment section and I'm going to reply and give you an answer and clear your doubts and make you even understand it better. But the best way to understand this better and not to forget it is to constantly solve questions. Go through your textbooks and look for quadratic equations using the quadratic formula, solve tons of questions, and that's how you're going to gain mastery in solving quadratic equations. Let's look at a second example on the board. If we have a second example, still using the quadratic formula, we want to find if we have let's solve this question on the board that we have example 2. If we have 3x square minus 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. Still using the quadratic formula, first of all, we know that our a is equal to 3, our b is equal to negative 5, and our c is equal to negative 2. So using the quadratic formula, x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So we are just going to substitute into that equation. You can call this equation 1. So we just substitute. We have that x. What's our b? Our b is negative 5. So that is negative into negative 5. This negative sign, it's there from the formula. So I'm still going to put the negative. And then what's our b? Our b itself is negative 5. So I'll substitute negative 5. Don't make a mistake not to substitute negative 5. This is plus or minus. What's our b again? Our b is negative 5 all squared minus 4. What's our a is 3. And our c is negative 2. And this is going to be divided by 2 multiplied by 3. So our x is equal to negative multiplied by negative. This negative sign here multiplying this negative sign turns to positive. So we'll have positive 5 plus or minus square root of negative 5 square simply means positive 25. So that's going to give us 25. And then 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. And then negative multiplied by negative is positive. So I have positive 24. And this is going to be divided by 6. And if we progress, our x is equal to positive 5. Positive or negative, the square root of 25 plus 24 is 49. And divided by 6. And this is something that's saying x is equal to 5 plus or minus the square root of 49. Again, 49 is a perfect square. So the square root of 49 is 7. So square root of 49 is 7. So I'm going to replace this with 7. I'm going to replace this with 7. And this is going to be divided by 6. Okay, so what do we have next? We have that our x is equal to 5 plus 7 divided by 6, or our x equal to 5 minus 7 divided by 6. Those are the two instances. Therefore, our x here is equal to 5 plus 7 is 12 divided by 6, or x is equal to 5 minus 7. Here, 5 minus 7 is negative 2 divided by 6. And this simply means that our x is equal to 6 divided by itself is 1, divided by here is 2. 6, 2 divides 6, that's 3 times 2 divides itself 1. So we have x is equal to 2, or x is equal to 1, negative 1 over 3. So that becomes our two instance of the value of x. Pretty straightforward and simple, clean, and straight to the point. So let's also look at a third question on the board. If we have, let's see something that might look a little bit tough. 4x squared plus 2x minus 7 is equal to 0. So still using the quadratic formula, we know that our a is equal to 4. Please always write out the value of a, b, and c. Write it out so that you don't mistake another value for it, so you can easily see it when substituting into the quadratic formula. So our a is 4, our b is 2, and our c is negative 7. So what this simply means is that we'll substitute into the quadratic formula that says x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. What this means is when we substitute into that equation, we have that x is equal to negative b Sorry, that'll be negative. What's our b? Our b is 2 plus or minus b square, that's 2 squared. Please take note of how I'm doing the substitution and the steps, how I simplify this step by step so that your work will be clean, neat, and you get your answers correctly. 4, and our A is what? 4. Our C is what? Negative 7 divided by 2 multiplied by 4. What that simply means is that our X is equal to negative 2 plus or minus square root of 2 square is 4. That's 2 times 2. That's 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And then when we do 16 multiplied by 7 is going to give us 112. And then negative multiplied by this negative is positive. And then I have my 112 divided by 2 times 4 is 8. So what this simply means is that x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus 112 plus 4 is going to give us 116. 116 divided by 8. And 116 divided by 8. 116 now is not a perfect square. So this is where it becomes a little bit tricky. How are we going to solve this? So, but let's go. We can still do something around that. This becomes x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus 116 is not a perfect square. We can solve this in two ways. We can decide to actually give the value of 116, the square root of 116, though it's not going to give us an integer because it's not a perfect square. Or we can decide to express 116 in a solved form. So we can decide to do that, express it in a solved form. Maybe I'm going to do that in two ways. Maybe express it in solved form or just transform what it is. But nevertheless, you can still see that the square root of 116 is 10.7, approximately 10.8. So I can say this is 10.8 divided by 8. So what we have here is negative 2 positive 10.8 divided by 8. That's for the first instance of being positive, or x equal to negative 2 negative 10.8 divided by 8. So for the first instance, what we have is that our x equal to negative 2 plus 10.8, that will give us 8.8 divided by 8. Or x is equal to negative 2 negative 10.8, that's giving us negative 12.8 divided by 8. So if we go further to say x is equal to 8.8 divided by 8 for the first instance, okay, let me just put it like this. This gives you that x is equal to 8.8 divided by 8 is 1.1, and then 12.8 divided by 8, 12.8 divided by 8 is going to give you negative 1.6. So this becomes your two instance for the value of x. Okay, for remember I told you you can also solve this in a solved form. So I want you to solve it out. I'm just going to give you a hint, and I want you to solve it and put it in the comment section what your answer is if you want to transform that in a solved form. So this is what I'm going to explain to you from this point where we have this. This is where my explanation is going to come from, so that I can let me see if you're going to get it. So from this point, Just follow me as we go on. So if I have square root of 11, 116 rather, I can transform 116 into a solid form, whereby I can say 116 in a solid form. This can be also written as square root of 58 multiplied by the square root of 2. That's one way I can write that. And this can also be written as square root of 58. It can also be written as the square root of 29 multiplied by square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 2. Square root of 58 is square root of 29 multiplied by the square root of 2. Okay, just watch how I'm trying to break this down. Okay, so we can also further break that down to say the square root of 29. Let's look for the square root of 29. Let's see just a little trick how I do get this. Let's see. 29. Okay, we can say that the square root of 29, this can also be written as square root of 29 multiplied by root 2 multiplied by root 2 is 2. This is what it means. Root 2 multiplied by root 2 is the same thing as saying all root 2 times 2, which is root 4, and the square root of 4 is 2. So the whole of this turns to 2, which is the same thing as saying 2 root 29. Oh boy, I've given you all the answers. So from this, you can transform, take this and substitute for this, and then finish it up from there and comment in the comment box what your answer is. The best answer is going to get a prize from me, or the correct answer rather is going to get a prize from me. I'm going to email you and send you a prize. So work that out and put it down in the comment box what your answer is. I'm going to go through the comment box and look for the correct answer. And the first correct answer I see is going to get a prize from me. So if you have any question, put it in the comment box. If you have any question, challenging question you want to solve using the quadratic formula, you can put it in the comment box and I'm going to make a video specially for you explaining how to solve it. Bye for now and thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the videos we're making. If you're finding value, getting value, you're learning a lot from this channel, please support us, give us a like, give us comment your comments, give us your comments, click the share button, subscribe to this channel, and it encourages us to make more videos, it encourages us to put in the work to make sure that we give value to you. Thank you and bye for now.